Hi,
Hi, how are you?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, is that Paul?
Yes, I'm Paul.
Are you in New Zealand?
Yes, New Zealand.
OMG, that's amazing. The other side of the world.
Yep, yep.
I love that. The fact that we can just do this, just pressing buttons. And I
No worries.
think I've got an earpiece in. I think that's working. And
Brilliant.
oh wow, I've never been to New Zealand. That's a long. I've been to Australia. I should have just popped over, shouldn't I?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it would have been great. Great fun.
So you've got two islands, right? And South Island, North Island, Wellington, and what's the other place, the big place?
Big place, Auckland.
Auckland, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where are you?
So I'm 2 hours out of Auckland, called in a place called Whangarei.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just
And
outside of Auckland.
okay, and do you run a radio called Cliff Richard Radio?
Yeah, for the last 7 years now, I've run a station for Cliff. Also plays other people as well every hour. So people who have influenced him or people that just like his music, we play all sorts of artists as well. I started a
So you're
major.
like
Sorry.
you're a Cliff fan, basically.
Yeah,
You are
a Cliff
are
fan.
you a Cliff fan? Are you
Yep.
running it on behalf? Oh, how amazing!
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, play because he's got a lot of music, and I started it because a lot of artists don't get a lot of radio airplay anymore. So I thought it was good to at least get artists out there that no longer meet the criteria for these young radio stations anymore.
All right, brilliant. Oh well, let's do it. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
definitely.
I'm a Cliff fan, by the way. I think he's fantastic,
Oh, yeah, he
uh,
is. He's a really good
and
singer.
I've got my own Cliff stories. If you want to,
Oh,
uh,
yeah,
I have a couple of Cliff stories. Yeah.
that would be good. So, first of all, thank you for taking your time out today to speak to me. We do play a lot of your songs here. I think the most requested are Only Love, Too Shy, and of course, The Never Ending Story. And because they're all great songs to sing along to, what has been your favorite song to record?
Ooh, to record. The recording process is is a tricky beast, really. I mean, when with Kajagoogoo and the first album, um, kind of we were being guided by Nick Rhodes from Duran Duran, the keyboard player with Duran, who was co-producing, and Duran's producer Colin Thurston. So they were kind of at the helm, like the captains steering the ship,
Yeah,
which was good because when you've got five personalities in a band and the drummer wants the drums loud and the guitarist wants the guitar louder,
yeah,
you need someone who can crack the whip.
yeah.
So, I mean, I enjoy the process of Too Shy because we were in the countryside at this lovely, what they called a residential recording studio
Hmm.
where you would sleep, and you would get up and they had catering staff that made food and,
Hmm.
it was almost like going away on not on holiday, but it was exciting, especially being our first album and just signed to EMI Records. So
Yeah.
and being produced by Duran's Nick Rhodes. So
Hmm.
that's going to be a hard one to beat. But then, getting a call from Georgia Moroder to do the Never Ending Story was pretty exciting as well. A bit like if you're an actor and you get a call from Steven Spielberg, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you know, I remember being very excited about working with Giorgio. I knew his earlier work.
Hmm.
I knew that he was a three-time Academy Award winner for film music. I knew all the Donna Summer records, of course.
Hmm.
So that was pretty exciting. Now, for that one, I had to fly to Germany, to Munich, where Giorgio had a studio.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he he was raised. He's Italian, Giorgio Moroder. It's Italian. um, but he was raised in a small place near the borders of Germany, and Munich was the nearest big
Hmm.
um, city. So yeah, he set up his studio there, and I flew to Munich. That was pretty exciting too. So it'd be somewhere between those two that, oddly enough, the two biggest hits.
Mm. Yeah, and I think The Never Ending Story is like one of the most loved films and also one of the most loved songs, I think, of the 80s. And whenever you hear it, I mean, it gets played on some of the radio stations here in New Zealand as well. It comes on occasionally at work, and you just find yourself singing along to it all the time.
Yeah,
Such a great number.
it's very sing-alongable, you know. Um, when you're doing the live show,
Yeah.
um, even if I do a 1 hour, if I do a 1 hour set,
Hmm.
I'll only put in one slow number
Yeah.
because generally you want to keep the audience up. So we tend to stick to mid-tempo and up-tempo, maybe
Hmm.
one slow number.
Yeah.
And that the weird thing about Never Ending Story is it feels like a ballad, but it has all that sort of stuff going on underneath, and it's 126 BPM, beats per minute.
Hmm.
So it's like a ballad with a beat. It kind of works on like two levels. It's a weird one,
Mm.
but no complaints from my side.
None from ours either. It's always great to listen to that one. Now you've got a new Christmas single out, "One Wish for Christmas."
Yeah.
What is the story behind this song?
Okay. So on my bucket list as a songwriter, I always wanted to write a song about London. I've lived in London most of my adult life. I've got some important memories there. I also thought there's about 20 songs about New York, but not that many about London. I thought I had this personal challenge to redress the balance,
Yeah.
and I always on my bucket list as well. I always wanted to write a song about Christmas,
Hmm.
but kind of thought that will never happen because everybody sang about Santa and sleigh bells, etc. Then 8 years ago, I met the pianist and singer from the Savoy Hotel in London, John Nicol,
Hmm.
and he does a lot of the jazz numbers. And I thought that would be a nice starting point for a song. So I said to him, "Do you want to get together and have a songwriting session?" And he happened to live conveniently close to me in North London.
Hmm.
And we got together and we wrote a song called London for Christmas, which was combining the two ideas on the bucket list. So you've got the angle of London
Hmm.
into Christmas, and that gave you a new way into Christmas, you know. And
Yeah.
then and it came out and it got some good reviews and it did okay and a lot of people liked it, but it wasn't a big hit or anything.
Hmm.
And then during this year, the pandemic, like most musicians, I was twiddling my thumbs, all gigs cancelled. And I was thinking about the lyrics of "To London for Christmas" and how relevant they are this year.
Yeah.
How they talk about all these things that we can't do. You know, go to the theatre, cocktail bar, go shopping. You know, all these nice boat trip on the Thames. And I thought, wow, those lyrics are so relevant this year. Called the guys, co-writers and producer, and said, you know, let's revisit it. That was the idea, to revisit the production
Hmm.
only. But it was during that process that I got the idea for the title change. And when I thought of it, it just felt right. It just felt like the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle, really. So London for Christmas became One Wish for Christmas. Technically, you could argue it's taken me 8 years to write this song, but that's fine.
It really is a moving song, and also the music video as well. It's so moving and haunting. Whereabouts did you film the theatre scenes?
So I live in Hertfordshire. One of the towns in Hertfordshire is called Watford,
Hmm.
and they have this beautiful old theatre built in the early 1900s, the Watford Palace Theatre. And I just dropped them an email and I said, I know you're closed, but you know, can we hire it for some music video footage? And I really expected them to say no, because we were actually in our second lockdown at this point.
Yeah.
But understandably, they needed the money. You know, they've got no income from box office or whatever. So yeah, they said, you know, providing that we were, you know, we did all the COVID stuff with masks and everything.
Yeah.
And it felt safe. It was a really big space. But you know, there was about 18 of us on the day with the small orchestra and the dancers and the choreographers and the crew,
Mm.
you know. I'm glad you pointed out the video because I'm really proud of it. You know, when I saw it the first time, when the director sent me the rough cut, I was like, it took my breath away
Yeah.
because I love the dancing, the old Hollywood style. It feels very romantic and warm.
Yeah, very moving. I got goosebumps the first time I seen it.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah, it's a really good video. Yeah.
That's a good reaction. Can I just mention where people can see it?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, just go to limahl.com.
Mhm.
Links you to the video or the single or me on social media, etc.
Yeah. So does this Christmas feel any different from other Christmases before for you, especially you guys in England?
Yeah, yeah, I can't deny it. You know, I mean, um, you know, I would normally, like everybody, I'd be going to bars and restaurants, meeting friends, family. That's not going to happen. I don't feel that safe indoors. I'm 61 now, and I used to smoke, and I've worked in nightclubs. I don't know how healthy my lungs are. I mean, I feel healthy as a person, but I just don't want to take that chance, you know, because we just don't know with this virus, and we're just around the corner now from, you know, it seems like there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think it'd be a real bummer to get the virus now and check
Yeah,
out
no,
just when the vaccine's around the corner.
yeah.
So I know I would send that message to everybody else, you know, as
Mm,
tempting as it is, as even though it's Christmas, you
mm,
know, there's plenty more Christmases to come
yeah,
and plenty more summers to enjoy. It's just not worth it
no,
because the indoors the particles hang around for ages.
yeah,
Apparently, they have
yeah,
these like droplets go to the floor and particles hang around for quite a while. And in a restaurant, of course, you got to take your mask off to eat.
yeah.
So yeah, but of course, you guys down there, you can eat outside, can't you? Because it's your summer. Lucky you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely now, and thankfully there's been no community transmission here for about a month now. So
Oh, great. So
yeah,
well, I'll think of you guys sat outside and what's the temperature there this time of year? Is it like
um,
25 or something?
yeah, 25, and then towards the end of
Perfect.
December, early January it goes up to 30.
Oh, lovely,
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah. Still be nice to have a white Christmas. So one year I'd have to fly to England for Christmas.
Yeah, it's not going to happen there.
Yeah, no, no. So who are your music influences starting out?
My music influences, all the early records I bought, I such a mixture, you know. I mean, growing up at home, we used to watch obviously all the lovely old films. There'd be the radio, there'd be pop hits, there'd be um, my mum had an Andy Williams album, and he became my favorite crooner
Mm-hmm.
because his TV show was really fun.
Yeah,
And I always thought he had such a beautiful voice, Andy Williams.
he does.
Just the tone was quite exquisite, and his delivery, it made it look so easy. But I know as a singer myself, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, certainly he had a gift. We had a greatest hits by Stylistics,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember enjoying a lot of Motown.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of R&B
Mm-hmm.
influence. But later on, I was listening to the Carpenters in my teens. I was listening to Barry White. I
Mm-hmm.
was listening to a jazz vocal group called the Manhattan Transfer.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So, and all of that was having some influence on me, you know.
Yeah.
But I think mainly, you know, I mean now my you know, I've got one of the streaming sites on my phone, and it's great, isn't it? Depending what
Mm.
mood you're in. And if I want a little sort of low key jazz, I might put on like Chet Baker in the evening or Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Or if I go to the gym when they're back open, you know, I've got a workout playlist
Oh,
as you
nice.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, at the moment, I'm listening to my Christmas playlist, which has got a Cliff record on it.
Oh, nice. What Cliff Christmas song?
Of course, Mistletoe and Wine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great song, that one. Is
It is.
anyone today you'd like to duet with?
Duet.
Do a duet, yeah.
Oh boy. Gosh. Male or female?
Either.
Yeah, either. I'm really rubbish on names. I'm trying to think of this guy's name in America, whose voice I love. Oh, um, Post Malone.
Oh yes, Post Malone. Yeah.
Amazing voice. There's one record of his I particularly like, and I can't remember the title. And Faith, Paloma Faith in the UK, we love her.
Yeah. She's got a good
Yeah,
voice.
she's fun. She'd be fun to do a duet with.
Yeah.
It's probably too late for me to do a duet with Cliff, and you know he's done so many anyway. He's done one with Elton and one with Olivia Newton-John and others. So,
He's even not long done one with Elvis.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
How can I compete with that?
Still would be good to hear you two together. You've both got really good voices, so I think it would be a good match.
I met Cliff. Well, first of all, when I was signed to EMI Records, Cliff was on EMI.
Oh yes.
So I remember in our first year, we were asked to go to the EMI conference. This was an annual event for all the staff at the head office in Manchester Square. The conference rather, was held in the countryside, and they hired a big conference center. And I came down from my hotel room in the morning to go to the conference, and there was only one table left in the breakfast room. One seat, and it was next to Cliff, opposite Cliff.
Yeah.
So I sat down, and I can technically say that I've had breakfast with Cliff.
Nice. Cool. Did you meet many other times throughout your career?
Well, after that, you know, it was great fun being on a label like EMI because, you know, I could go into the building and get loads of freebies. So, you know, they signed Tina Turner, so I had Tina Turner records, they had Cliff records, they had Paul McCartney records, Duran, Talk, and others. Olivia Newton-John was on EMI for a while. So I used to love my freebies. And of course, the other freebie was sometimes you get invited to the concerts. So Cliff was playing at the what was it called then? The Hammersmith Apollo.
Oh.
It's called something else now. It's a venue in West London. And yeah, it was arranged for me to meet him backstage before the show with my parents.
Oh wow.
And now you can imagine my parents who'd grown up with Cliff from an early age, you know.
Yeah.
My folks were so excited, and Cliff was he was so sweet and accommodating, and we had pictures, and yeah, it was and it was a great gig. And I think that was the first Christmas, so this would be about 86, I think, when he released Mistletoe and Wine. I remember him saying in the audience, must have been November or something, and this is my new Christmas single, Mistletoe and Wine. I remember thinking, this sounds like a hit. What year did he release Mistletoe and Wine?
Mistletoe and Wine.
85?
88.
84?
88, I think.
88?
Yeah, 88. Yeah. Yeah, because he had said
Okay.
Day in 90. Yeah.
Right. Well, that must have been the year I met him. And yeah, he was very charming. But I could go back even further than that, and I'll tell you another story. I remember there was a song in the charts called Some People Can Love One Another. You know that one?
Yeah.
Some People. Was that produced by Alan Tarney?
Yeah, Alan Tarney hit that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Tarney was a great producer. I always had him on my list.
Yeah.
To possibly work with. But I was walking home to Pimlico in South London, and I walked past the Victoria Apollo, massive venue, and it said, Cliff Richard tonight, live here. So I just thought, oh, that sounds like fun because I really like that song. And I was,
Yeah.
you know, this is before Kajagoogoo. I was only like 19 or 20 years old. So 3 years before Kajagoogoo record came out, I was aspiring. I was like entering in and out of demo studios and
Mhm.
studying the piano, and I was doing some theatre work. So I was aspiring performer, and I just went to the box office and I said, "Do you have any tickets left for tonight?" And she said, "Standing room only," and it wasn't that expensive
Yeah.
for standing room only back in those days. And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll take it." And
Mhm.
the standing room only area, it just seemed to go really close to the front. So suddenly I'm,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think I've been to a proper gig before,
Mhm.
and you really get the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, they were so excited. The atmosphere was incredible, really electric.
Mhm.
And watching Cliff perform was inspiring. I thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. You
Yeah.
know, watching him did a great show, and
Right.
um, I think the duet with Olivia had been a big hit as well, which was such a class record, such a
Mm.
class record. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I must say, I love your Christmas tree in the background. It's it's really cool.
we like it too. Thank you. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you know, everybody does red. We thought we'd do blue.
yeah, they do. It looks quite nice. It stands out quite well. So if COVID goes out of the way next year, do you have any plans for 2021?
Yeah. Hopefully all the gigs will come back, you know, after the vaccine rollout, maybe spring. Everything was cancelled from March this year, or postponed until next year. Normally I travel a lot with gigs because they have 80s events now all over the world.
Yeah.
And last year in America, 3 big TV shows used my music. So you had Too Shy was in Black Mirror on Netflix, which
Oh,
was yeah, episode Bandersnatch,
mhm.
and then American Horror Story
Oh,
season 9, another big show that used Too Shy and actually had an actor playing Limahl. And
oh.
I got bumped off by one of the supernaturals while Too Shy was playing in the background. So uh,
Oh, wow.
it's, it's a feather in my cap. Apparently, it's quite an accolade to get bumped off on American Horror Story. And I knew I was doing okay when my 21-year-old nephews were WhatsApping me going, "OMG, oh, American Horror Story." Suddenly I was cool with the kids. Uh, uncle, cool uncle for a while there, and which is nice,
Yeah.
always nice, because you know most of the time they just ignore you because they're in their own world.
Yeah.
Uh, and then in another show called Stranger Things, the season 3 finale, they used Never Ending Story, and the streams of the song went up from 300,000 to 1.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah, after the broadcast,
Yeah.
it was incredible.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's been very encouraging.
Mhm.
The usage of the old music, and it's kind of made people interested in, that's why I've been back in the studio really, because I saw the responses to that, and I thought, well, let's see if anyone's interested in hearing something new from me.
Yeah. Definitely. I think 80s is there's so many good music in the 80s as well. And they're starting to do the 80s tour here in New Zealand. I think they started it a couple of years ago, and that's a big hit over here. So hopefully one day we'll get to see you here as well.
I hope so. I came to Australia in 2016 and did an 80s tour.
Hmm.
I think it was back to the 80s or something with Terry Nunn from Berlin.
Oh,
You Take My Breath Away, their song.
yeah.
Just a Georgia Moroder track. Who else was on there? Katrina from Katrina and the Waves. Um, who else did we have? Canadian, oh, what's that Canadian act called? I can't remember. And Martika, Toy Soldiers.
Oh,
She was. She was there, yeah. So, and I don't know why the promoter didn't take it to New Zealand. It would make sense. I mean,
Yeah,
we've come all that way. Maybe he was hoping that the New Zealand people would fly into
yeah,
Australia because it's not that far, right? What is it, an hour's flight or something?
yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah, max. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys like commute a lot between Australia mainland and New Zealand?
Yeah, a lot of business people do that, and then if you want to go over for maybe a few days for the weekend, yeah, it's not too
Yeah,
far. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, at the moment, we can't go anywhere. So yeah,
No, not worth it anyway. It
no,
won't be long. Won't be long.
no, definitely not. So I'd like to thank you for taking your time out to speak to me today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and yeah, long may your music continue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great Christmas. Stay safe.
You too.
And yeah, keep playing that Christmas song, please.
Yeah, definitely, all the time. It's such a great track. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.